Hi guys, welcome back once again to the Aegis Gaming TV channel. I haven't done a video in a while, and what better way to start than talking about Aston Villa's possibly the biggest issue that we'll face this season. As you guys are probably well aware by now, Jack Grealish is injured. I think the most bizarre part is the club tried to cover it up. There was a few rumours leaked on Twitter, and I don't go by what people say on Twitter because a lot of the time it's not going to be true. I usually go by the official source, but the club didn't say anything. Dean Smith had press conferences, didn't mention it. He wasn't included in the training photos. Like, that was one of the biggest clues. And it's come out since that the Aston Villa players involved in the Premier League's FPL took him out of the fantasy team. And because several Villa players did that, all this linked together, it's clearly shown that they knew in advance, obviously, and the club tried to hide it. To be quite fair, the advantages of doing that is obviously the opponent will plan around a player like Jack Grealish, who's easily our biggest player, our biggest attacking threat, and Leicester City fielded two fullbacks against him. They didn't do that on the left side, they did it on the right hand side. So maybe they heard some form of leak, but again, because it's not official, they're not gonna just not plan for it at all. They still ended up winning the game, so it didn't really overly make too much of a difference, but they definitely planned for Grealish to play. Since the Leicester City game, Dean Smith has apparently reported that Grealish isn't going to be out long term. It isn't a reoccurring injury, and it should only be a few weeks. But that is still a few games that we're going to miss him out on. The biggest question on everyone's mind now is going to be, how will Aston Villa react to losing a big player like Grealish in the next coming games? So we've got Leeds United next. Now, we lost 3-0 to Leeds United with Grealish, so what's going to happen without him? A lot of teams would like to criticise Aston Villa, will say that we are literally just Grealish FC. We haven't been able to dispute that fact. I'm pretty sure Grealish played every game last season in the Premier League. Someone put on Twitter the last game that we won without him was against Bristol City in the Championship. And to be fair, since his last long-term injury, he hasn't actually been injured. So we haven't had to worry about games without him. Obviously, we should have a backup plan, a plan B, when he can't play. But it's no matter what you're going to do, it's going to be an issue. He's a big player. It's like if Bruno Fernandes gets injured at Man United. They still have a very good team, but they're going to suffer because it's Bruno Fernandes. To argue if we are really Grealish FC, the best way to look at that is how we play without him. Now, the Leicester City game, obviously we didn't play him. So how did we play? The biggest statistic and the most important one is the fact that we did lose against Leicester City. We started the game quite poorly. They dominated us. They already had a shot in the first 30 seconds where they passed the ball around our defence. We looked a bit slow and lethargic. To be quite fair, we also had Matty Cash out for the game, our right back, which having our best, or arguably our best defender out injured as well as our best attacker, the two combined, it's probably not going to go down very well. And they both affect either side because Matty Cash overlaps for the attack for Villa as well, as Grealish helps defend for Villa down the left-hand side. So it's gonna leave an impact. Al Mohammadi came in, quite a veteran defender at Villa. He can be quite reliable, but I'd say mainly as a sub. I think he struggled for the first half. I think we were just a little bit naive. We left Maddison completely free at the edge of the box when he's got incredible shooting, and obviously he scored if you're going to give a player like that freedom. Harvey Barnes, no one tracked him. He had a lot of freedom down the left-hand side, and he had an easy tap in because no one followed him up on a rebound. It's just silly individual mistakes. And the goal itself came from Konza and El Mohammadi getting in each other's way, which allowed Vardy to shoot. Because we conceded 2 goals in quick succession, it was a bit of a worry that it was going to be a lot worse than what it was. We all know Leicester beat Southampton 9-0 last year. I don't want to go too far, but it was definitely feeling like it was going to be one of those games that we wouldn't even look like coming back. And we didn't really create anything in the first half anyway. Second half, I think much brighter. We scored within the first couple of minutes. Lovely goal by Traore, cross from target, a layoff from McGinn. Very, very nice team goal. Still didn't overly threat Kasper Schmeichel as much as what I want. But we had good signs. We had good signs of attacking football. Bertrand Traore, I said in my live stream, if there's any player who's going to take up that playmaker role from Grealish in his absence, it will probably be Traore. He's got a similar play style. Likes to dribble, likes to keep the ball close to his feet, and he'll cut back on his stronger foot just like Jack Grealish would. And maybe we'll see more of that in the upcoming games. But I think Leicester defensively very good. Johnny Evans, Soyuncu, give them massive credit. I think they're very, very good centre-backs. The reason why they've competed well in the Premier League this year, that's why they did quite well last year, other than their little bottle towards the end of the season. They still competed quite well, and they got European football at the end of the day. If any team gets in the top 6, they've obviously played quite well. So looking at more the negatives from Villa, what went wrong? I think we lost the midfield battle. That is the most important thing in terms of football, I think, because the midfield battle helps you defend and helps you attack. I think Barkley was too slow and lethargic, and he just seemed to jog around a lot. He's had a lot of criticism, and I think it's fairly warranted. You need to work hard in the Premier League, and maybe it's a fitness thing. Like I don't know what it is, why he's playing like that, but he needs to work harder. Because he's a very good player. He's got a lot of talent. We've seen it at Everton. We've seen it in glimpses at Chelsea. And we've seen it in glimpses at Villa. He scored the winner against Leicester, ironically, at the start of the season. And he scored the winner against Southampton. So there's clearly something there. I don't overly rate his work rate. John McGinn played okay. Can be a little bit sloppy. I think the last few games he hasn't been up to his typical standard. So, when you play very well for a team and then a few performances drop off, if you play well consistently, you've raised the standard for yourself. The reason why Grealish will get a little bit of criticism if he doesn't perform a 9 out of 10 like he does every week. You leave like a standard out on the pitch. Douglas Luiz, again, didn't really look that great. He frustrates me. He frustrates me a lot because he can do fantastic defensive work. His interceptions can be incredible. Then he'll give the ball away, like with a 3-yard pass. Very, very frustrating player. And I love McGinn and Luiz together. But the last few games they haven't played very well. They were very poor against Southampton. El Ghazi had to come in on the left. I do feel for El Ghazi because Leicester planned 2 fullbacks against him. And that's obviously going to be very difficult. Pereira is a very, very good fullback, and so is Castagna. So he was going to struggle. I think even Grealish would have potentially struggled against 2 fullbacks. So to expect Anwar El Ghazi to perform at high levels against those 2, maybe it would have been maybe it'd be a little bit too harsh. So the lineup against Leeds United. Now, if Matty Cash isn't back from injury, obviously we still have Al Mohammadi at fullback, which I don't think there's a single way you can work around that. Maybe playing Neil Taylor out of position, but I think the club has done that before and it didn't go very well. So maybe he will most likely have to start again. Konza and Mings, obviously nothing wrong with them 2 defensively. Mings, I think, was at fault for the first Leicester goal, but he does get a lot of stick. I've given him a bit of stick, but 9 times out of 10 he does the right thing. He's quite powerful in the air and he's a very good defender. So obviously nothing would change from the back line. I wouldn't even change the formation, even though we rely so heavily on Grealish. I would actually play Marvelous Nakamba against Leeds United. And Leeds will battle hard. They've got Phillips in the midfield. I think we need a player like Nakamba. Nakamba has been perfect when he's come on, when he's played. He's done everything we could ever ask for. I would play him. Alongside John McGinn, I would drop Douglas Luiz for this game. That's just me personally. You could even go the route of play Sanson in midfield and put Jacob Ramsey. I don't know why we don't start Ramsey. I think he's a very good young talent. The only thing I'd worry about is possibly the fitness levels, because Leeds are known to play quite hard-working football, and maybe he'd struggle with that. But if he'd struggle with that, so would Barkley. So I would either play Sanson in an attacking midfield and play McGinn there to help defensively, or you can put Sanson in central midfield and have Ramsey as an attacking midfielder. I think El Ghazi. Not sure if I'd have him on the left. I'd possibly play Trezeguet on the attacking left midfield, or left wing, however you want to call it, rather than El Ghazi, because we haven't seen much of Trezeguet, and I'd like to see him appear more. And I'd obviously have Traore on the right. I think he is our best winger other than Grealish. He offers us a lot, and obviously Watkins up front. Hopefully we'll get Wesley back from injury, Cash, Grealish, Courtney Howes as well. I'd really want him to come back from injury. I want him to feature more because I think Courtney Howes is a very underrated defender at Villa, and hopefully we can see these players back. But that is the team I would play. I would like to see Ramsey and Sanson in the midfield, but I don't think Dean Smith will do that because it's a little bit expansive, and I think he'd want like a McGinn or a Louise in midfield. But I'd love to see Nakamba play. I think Nakamba defensively is good enough to cover the other side, so Sanson can help carry the ball forward more when Nakamba's more the defensive one. And then I'd love to see Ramsey in the attacking midfield. But that is just me. If you guys have a different opinion of anything you want to say, just let me know in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. And I'm still going to do the live streams for every Villa game. I do want to produce more videos. I may do player ratings and stuff like that in the future. And after the games, if any Leeds fan, if any Villa fan or anyone wants to come on and have a little chat, you can all talk in my Discord. We'll have a little bit of a player reaction. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.